Neville Goddard called this the secret of the slices. Oh, what a yummy title. And I'll admit it, I'm lying. He never said that. But I bet if you listen closely, you're going to hear his teachings all through this, and a few yummy quotes too. Because the secret of the slices determines everything. Ask Cousin Roddy. Meanwhile, welcome to another exciting episode of the Power of Imagination podcast. Because there's only one thing that matters, and that's what you imagine. And what you imagine is determined by how you imagine, and a lot of people don't know how. They imagine. So they stay stuck trying to change what they imagine. And today we invite you to identity-based manifesting. Why? Because it's pretty damn cool. Identity-based manifesting. Go take a look at what's all in that powerful pack. And if, let's be honest. If you get gold from the podcast, if I'm more than a cat video to you, feel free to share the show and feel free to dive deeper. And today's suggestion, identity-based-manifesting.com. Go give it a look. Look at the titles, right? You've probably realized by now that I don't share what most people do. I share something a wee bit different. But Cousin Roddy, he had a way. Back when he was 7, his mom burned the pie. I don't know if it was apple pie. I don't know if it was pecan pie. I don't know if it was pumpkin pie. But Mom burned the pie. And Cousin Roddy never ate crust again. He just wouldn't. He just couldn't. He'd look at pie and he'd have a flashback to when he was 7. Last time I saw Cousin Roddy, he was, mid-40s. We stopped by Wise's Restaurant in Scottsdale. And Wise's Restaurant in Scottsdale made the best pies. I can't even tell you what the best pies there are, but one of my favorites was the strawberry. Oh, they made a coconut cream that was just divine. And Cousin Roddy wouldn't eat the crust. Right? So he'd get the pie and he'd take a knife and he'd slice the crust off. Me? Oh, I gotta tell you, old Nellie Wise, she could make a crust to die for. She's dead now too. But hopefully someone's carrying on that tradition back in Scottsdale, Pennsylvania. But I seem to digress because you can slice up the pie any way you want to. Now, one of the things that I notice is some people don't like crust, and that's fine. And so they slice the pie so they don't eat the crust. I think that's a little weird. But what's really weird is those who don't like the crust, and they slice the pie, and that's all they eat is the crust. And it's like, here they go again. They're eating more crust. And I can't help but wonder why. By the way, we're going to talk about how this happens in just a moment. But why it happens is fascinating to me. And why it happens is because they don't believe. They don't believe that they don't believe they can actually enjoy the rest of the pie. For whatever reason. Some people say they must have deservingness issues or self-love issues. I just say, you know what? What if it wasn't that dumb shit? Yeah, because, like I said, I just noticed. See, here's what I notice. You can tell a 7-year-old to get in the car and drive to Grandma's house, but that's pretty damn irresponsible. And it's terrifying if you're the passenger in the car. Here you go, 7-year-old, drive the car to Grandma's house. Right? It's just going to get weird. And that's how a lot of people treat imagining. They just say, just change what you imagine. I'm going to suggest exploring how to change how you imagine. But I digress. So, you're slicing the pie. You can slice the pie any way you want to. And you can actually eat the parts that you enjoy. And you don't have to contaminate today's pie with the letdown you experienced at 7 years old. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was 7, I'd say, Mommy, can I have a candy bar? And Mommy would always say, no, we don't have enough money. And then Mommy would proceed to get a 6-pack of Pepsi Cola. And I go, right. It's the weird shit, isn't it? And then would watch Disney, right? See, I grew up on welfare. And would watch Disney. It was on the TV. It was free. Back in the old days, we had NBC, CBS, and one other one, ABC. And Disney was on one of them, I forget which one. And would watch things like, whatever the Disney thing was. And maybe you notice they tend to make fun of rich people. They tend to glorify being poor. You think that's in your box somewhere? Right? It's these little things that cause you to slice the pie because you've got these old memories that you allow to really run your life. And we're inviting you to explore how to imagine differently. Not just to try to change what you imagine, but how to explore, how to imagine differently. God, I sit here and I just take in the nature. Years ago, I had a choice to make. I came to Australia for 2 weeks. I chose to stay for 3. I met someone. And then I returned to the States. And I closed everything down to come back. And the next year had its challenges. It also had its opportunities. I could have settled for excuses. Instead, I chose excellence. That was 14 years ago this month. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. I could clap my hands all day long. Meanwhile, you're going to slice your pie one way or the other. And you can slice out what you don't want to eat. You can slice out what you don't want to eat and eat it too. I just think that's weird. And on the other hand, I invite you to stretch and soar. I invite you to stop giving life to your excuses forevermore. Because I bet you Cousin Roddy's probably still... he's missing out. I haven't had a slice of Nellie Wise's pie in, 12 years. Like I said, she's dead now. Hopefully somebody else is still making the yummy pie. I'll have to ask my dad. But meanwhile, you gonna let those past letdowns cause you to be let down once again? Yeah, well, I once had pie and it was bad. Yeah, I once tried something and I failed. All right. Dive deeper, soar higher. My name is Mr. 2020. I want to thank you for listening to the Power of Imagination podcast. If you share it, I appreciate that. And if we give gold to you, feel free to dive deeper at NevilleGoddardStore.com. That's NevilleGoddardStore.com. Have a lovely day. See ya.